Hey folks, here we go. This is something that is still a bit muddled and mixed up in my head, so I apologise if I'm not as articulate about my experiences as I should be. I am 25 years old, or rather I will be 25 next month, so I'm basically 25 years old. I currently identify as bisexual. I say currently because it's all very confusing, and who knows, it may change in the future. I don't know how any of this works, so that'll do for now. But I only came to terms with the fact that I wasn't straight 2 years ago. And up to then, I had been struggling with the idea that I could not be straight for 6 years. Even now, at a time where I have accepted my sexuality and am proud of my sexuality and am happy in my sexuality and have a happy relationship, there are still times where I am hesitant. And that's because there are still parts of me that doubt what I feel. And I didn't feel this way due to a restrictive environment. My parents always made it very clear that whatever my brother and I were, would, or could be, they would be there. Talking about relationships, they would always say, when or if you get a boyfriend or a girlfriend, they had made this clear from a very young age, dropped very casually, as it should be. I was always in a very open environment with both friends and family. But no matter how apparent it was that it was okay, I never seemed to feel comfortable with the idea myself. And when a girl confessed to me, when I was 21, or, around that, it's a bit fuzzy now, and I realised that I possibly had feelings for her, well, at first it was wonderful. Yeah, it really was, and I'm not sure what switched in my mind, or what caused that switch, or how to explain how that switch made me feel, but it happened, and all at once it wasn't a wonderful feeling anymore, and I felt like my world was falling in a bit. I was so confused and so torn up about it inside that I shut myself off from it completely. Rather cruelly, if I'm honest. I refused to even start questioning it again properly until I was 23, and even then it was more of a self-reflection, very, very quiet, with maybe a few sneaky questions slipped into a deep, meaningful chat in the kitchen with my uni friends. I didn't tell anyone that I was questioning my sexuality because it didn't seem relevant to me. I didn't have romantic feelings for any of my school or uni friends or any of the people that I was in close proximity with, so I didn't see any point in bringing it up. But, this isn't a chronological timeline of my, personal discovery, so there's the background, and maybe that's a story for another time. What got to me the most about my internalized homophobia was that I didn't dislike gay people. That's very important. I didn't dislike the LGBTQ+ community. A lot of my friends, before I even started questioning, identified as things that were not straight. I had no issue with it. I did acting in university. We were crawling with gays. The thing with my internalized homophobia was that the whole world could be gay if they wanted to be, and I would wish them love and happiness and peace and all that jazz, but it couldn't be me. It couldn't be me. Not me. Anyone but me. That didn't make sense in my mind. It didn't seem possible, but when I realised that it very much was possible, it scared me. Everyone else was fine with the idea, and I was fine with it being anyone else, and it got to the point where I talked myself out of the truth because I was terrified that if I accepted it, then after a while it may change and it wouldn't be what I identified as anymore, and that would mean that I had been lying to everyone and to myself and had been faking it the whole time. Which, by the way, isn't how it works. At all. That's not how it works, okay? And I've never really been, that much of a sexual person. I wasn't interested in it when I was younger, and even though I have had positive sexual experiences, I still identify as asexual. in high school, I didn't have that moment of realizing that, you're sexually attracted to the same gender, because I wasn't sexually attracted to anyone. And I think that made it a lot more complicated for me personally, because it made the lines a lot more blurred for me, I suppose. What got to me about my internalized homophobia was that I was terrified of people seeing me differently or negatively, which I also knew would not happen. My friends and my parents, I knew none of them would react negatively, but the fear was still there. In fact, it took me months to come out to my parents, even though I knew they would be fine with it, but the fear stopped me from telling them for so long, and lo and behold, when I did tell them that I wasn't straight, they were like, okay. And then, months later, when I told them that I had a girlfriend, they were like, okay. And I was like, react! Please! Please react! Give me something! Like, they're still very indifferent to it, because it doesn't even cross their mind for it to be anything strange, and it's got to the point where I'm actually, like, a little bit paranoid. Like, my girlfriend's, like, coming over. Like, are you sure you're okay with it? Like, you're not iffy about it? And they're like, obviously. Like, in fact, I'm actually surprised that you're bringing it up. And I'm like, react! Do something! It's just that the fear is still there, and I'm not even sure if it'll ever really go away. Like, it's always kind of just gonna be there, underlying everything. It got to me because I was terrified of how strangers would make their split-second judgments about me or my partner or my lifestyle, and I was terrified about what would happen if the wrong person found out, and if that person decided to bring that maliciousness and that spite and that hate forward to bring me or someone I love to harm, and to make an example out of us. Because I have spent my whole life so luckily in such a supportive and normalised environment, when I see something or hear something in passing or in a taxi cab or at work or anywhere, I am reminded that I'm not safe in a lot of ways, and that realisation is like a slap in the face. It got to me because who cares what a stranger thinks? And it got to me because it is so hard to actually not care. I do care. I care so much. I care that people judge without a second thought, and that they take pride in judging someone as lower or lesser or disgusting or unsightly, and I care that when I am with my partner, a part of me will always be afraid to hold her hand. And I'm still learning to stop caring about what others think of me in many aspects. Overcoming my internalized homophobia meant that I had to let go of a lot of stuff that I had imagined for myself. I had to let go of a narrative of myself that I had lived with my entire life, something that was expected of me. You know, the narrative that's pushed in media, and the narrative that is a lot more normalised, which is, meeting, falling in love with, and getting married to a man. And honestly, it could still happen, but it is just as likely, if not more so, that the same may happen, but just with my partner being a woman. And it has taken me several years to even come to terms with all this, to come to terms with how if it's okay for everyone else to be this way, then the same should technically, apply to me. To come to terms with the fact that just because I realised when I was older, and came to terms with it when I was older, I didn't have one of those big world-breaking epiphany moments when I was 13, it doesn't make my experience less important. The fact that I came to terms with it when I was older shouldn't matter, and doesn't mean that I'm lying to myself, or that I was always lying to myself before. That's not how it works. The fact that sexuality, like many things, is on a spectrum, and is fluid, and can, and usually will, fluctuate over the years, and And through it all, honestly, I am so thankful to my partner, who is the most amazing and wonderful and patient person who has helped me through so much and has helped me through my still very ongoing journey of being okay with myself. I am so thankful, and honestly, I have no idea what I ever did to deserve her. The most important thing to note in this, I suppose, is that you're not wrong for feeling this way. And if you're having trouble with your own internalized homophobia, whether that homophobia is directed at yourself or a friend or a family member, it is something that doesn't inherently make you a bad person. It's something that you can reflect on and that can take some time to work through yourself. And, sometimes it will take a very long time, like it did with me, and that's okay. My advice would be to research and read articles and be engaged and, ask questions, polite questions, with people that you're comfortable with. And if you need help figuring this out and to work through it, to have that support with you. Like, even now that I'm comfortable in my sexuality, I will still have very long conversations with my friends or my partner about a variety of things, and sometimes it consists of, I am feeling like this, and it is upsetting me, and I don't want to feel like this anymore. And, I'm aware that the feeling that I'm having is based on preperceptions that I've previously had, or it's based deep within my own insecurities, and I don't want to feel that way anymore. And things like that take time, like, it's not fixed after one conversation, but working through it with someone else, it helps you to work through that with someone and to have a base that you can start from. Celebrating Pride this year, it's most important to keep yourself safe. Like, if you don't feel comfortable telling others about your sexuality, whether you are questioning or you are still closeted, or if you're just not comfortable telling a certain group of people, if you don't feel comfortable doing that, then don't. Like, you don't owe anyone anything. You are not obligated to out yourself if you're not comfortable with it, because that's your choice to make. It's really important to assess those situations, and if you don't feel safe in a certain situation, then when you can, remove yourself from that situation or distance yourself as much as you can. Like, I didn't feel comfortable with my previous job knowing anything personal about me. I didn't want them to know that I had a girlfriend. I didn't want them to know that I was bisexual. I didn't want them to know anything about me because I was not comfortable and I did not feel safe with the people I worked with. They were lovely and we had, some fun times, but it was very much a distant professional relationship. Whereas in my new job, I'm much more comfortable and I'm very happy with them knowing my sexuality, and I will talk about my girlfriend until the cows come home, and they will be engaged and ask me how she's doing and stuff. Like, it's very much a safe and comfortable situation for me, and I know that. And I also know that I will not be going to any Pride celebrations this year because I don't feel like I am in a place where I am comfortable with that. Not only am I far too busy, unfortunately, to attend a Pride parade or anything, it's also that I don't think that I'd be comfortable in that environment just yet. I'd very much like to go. I'm hoping to go next year. I would like to ask if any of you have had similar experiences, and if you're like me and still have trouble with internalized homophobia sometimes. Like, I still struggle with it sometimes, even though I don't want to. Like, maybe if you have any suggestions or something like that to try and, get people who are struggling, like, sort of out of that mindset, that would be cool. Also, if you are celebrating Pride, I would love to hear about it. I would love to hear about whether you're going to a Pride parade. Tell me some stories about, some of the fun stuff that's happened at Pride, because I would really like to know. I don't know much about it, unfortunately. Like, are you going to be loud and proud this year, or will you be like me and just be very quiet about it? Just celebrate it with, the people you love, sort of thing. I know that this was a very different tone to my usual content, so thank you for being around for it. I am so thankful that we've reached a point where the LGBTQ plus folks can be open and that there is so much support and love and that people let each other know that they're not alone. I am thankful to every person who fought and marched and screamed for others to take notice so that we can be here today and have an entire month that we can just be ourselves, that we can just be. I'm thankful to everyone I have in my life that supports me and are, if anything, completely indifferent to who I love. Because at the end of the day, love is love, regardless. And throughout this Pride Month, and every month to follow, always remember that you are wonderful, and that you are beautiful and fantastic, and you deserve every happiness. And I am so proud of you. And you should be too. I hope you're having a lovely Pride Month, wherever you are, and stay safe. Ta-ra!
I literally saw you hit her.
I did not hit her. It's I did not hit her. Oh, hi, Charlotte.
Hey guys, I was just wondering, have you guys heard about my girlfriend?
You're gay? Think of the children.
If I can't be in love, then nobody's allowed to be in love. That's all
I mean,
I think that's wrong.
Gay is bad for the children.
Right, I mean, well, yeah,
So,
exactly.
She shouldn't be gay.
It's
The
alright,
children
mate,
shouldn't
it's
be
alright.
gay?
It's alright, we'll kick her out, it's fine.
Well, no,
She doesn't-
all
she
gay
doesn't
is
have to
bad.
stay
I think-
here, it's fine.
Yeah, Danny's dead.